surprise, surprise, Phil Mickelson's name is on everyone's lips again, this time for a jaw-dropping reveal linked to his infamous gambling addiction. What was initially believed to be a $40 million loss to his habits wasn't even close to the truth. Revealed by a former associate, it turns out Mickelson lost a mind-boggling $100 million to his affairs. But that's not the only twist. Tied to a shady affair lies a shocking betrayal that could forever change how you see the iconic figure. Not too long ago, Mickelson had an interesting interview with Bob Haring of Sports Illustrated. Reflecting on the past, he acknowledged he had a long gambling history, a quote-unquote reckless habit he had long struggled with. Tagging his gambling as an addiction, he disclosed he had been taking therapy to overcome it. On the back of his reveal came another bombshell. In an enthralling statement, he confirmed he would be joining the Saudi-backed Live Golf for a reported $200 million deal. To fans, both revelations weren't taken to be coincidental. After all, it was logical to speculate Mickelson was joining the filthy rich live circuit to recover the tremendous losses he made for himself thanks to gambling. However, he debunked the speculations by openly stating he and his family weren't in any financial crisis. Then again, you'd be hard-pressed to say his decision was due to financial struggles. With hundreds of millions in net worth, Phil Mickelson is easily in the top 1% of people on the planet as far as wealth is concerned. Moving on to Mickelson's wild habits, Alan Shipnuck, biographer of the golf icon, revealed Mickelson lost as much as $40 million between 2010 and 2014. Yeah, you heard it right. In the space of 4 years, Phil Mickelson had spent what most dream to make in their lifetime. Guys, if you think that is crazy, you've seen nothing yet. Elaborating on the reveal, John Hawkins, famous reporter for golf outlets, told Shipnuck he was a witness to one of Mickelson's reckless sprees. Hear this. He saw Mickelson use his phone to make 50 bets on college basketball in only 20 minutes. How is that even possible? Nevertheless, it threw a lot of light on why Mickelson was so adamant about the fact he found quitting gambling to be a daunting task. Gambling has been part of my life ever since I can remember, but about a decade ago is when I would say it became reckless. It's embarrassing. I don't like that people know. My wife Amy has been very supportive of therapy and with me in the process. Imagine making a habit of watching golf with a beer in hand and surrounded by friends. No other scenario would appeal to you if you do it long enough. However, here is where things start to get really interesting. In Billy Walters' autobiography, Gambler: Secrets from a Life at Risk, lays an even deeper insight into the true depths of Mickelson's addiction. Culled from the book, Walters opened up on a relationship like no other. Back in 2006, the pair first met at the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am in Northern California. Phil and Walter hit it off at some point and even talked about sports throughout the final round. As a matter of fact, they were so engrossed in the conversation that they were oblivious to the beauty of the majestic Monterey Peninsula. There's an interesting point to note. According to excerpts from the book, Mickelson was well aware of Walter's success in sports and gambling and wanted to make sort of an alliance, with the latter certainly not minding the prospect. When the tourney was over, they parted ways but kept the relationship going by being in touch. This was the groundwork of what eventually became a gambling partnership of 5 years. During that time, the pair played a couple of rounds of golf together, mainly in Southern California, with bets often worth $10,000 on the line. Here's where things start to get interesting. From the start of the partnership, the betting agreement between the duo was a verbal negotiation that demanded an equal division of resources. While Mickelson brings his half of the investment capital, the other portion would be contributed directly from Walter's purse, 50-50, straight down the line. The reason for the agreement was to ensure both parties shared an equal amount of potential risks and rewards. Within this context, Mickelson informed Walter about his ownership of 2 offshore accounts with enough capacity to handle wagering activities of astronomical proportions. The accounts came as a surprise though. Despite being in the game for decades, Walter noted he had never seen an account as large as Mickelson's. In his opinion, Such an expansive portfolio can only be birthed from a history of wagering to the tunes of millions of dollars. Don't take this to mean he was bothered by it. He was as cool as ice. He understood Mickelson was a big-time gambler, and men of such caliber tend to make big bets. More importantly, it was Mickelson's money, and he had all the right to spend it however he wanted. But want to hear something crazy? At some point, Mickelson boasted to Walter that he felt extremely confident about his chances of winning the 39th Ryder Cup between Europe and the United States. Paired with Bubba Watson and Tiger Woods, he was so sure of victory that he asked Walter to wager $400,000 for him on the American team to win. Walter, clearly the cautious one, succeeded in talking him out of the bet, and thankfully so, because the European team eventually won. Be that as it may, Walter took it upon himself to learn more about Mickelson's patterns. Getting information from two credible but unnamed sources, he discovered it was nothing for wagering hundreds of thousands on either football, baseball, or basketball games. From 2010 to 2014 alone, his gross wagers were over $311 million. Wait, there's more. In 2011 alone, Mickelson made 3,154 bets, with almost 9 bets a day on average. On the 22nd of June 2011, he placed 43 bets on Major League Baseball games, amounting to losses of over $143,000. In all, Billy Walter notes Mickelson wagered over $1 billion in the past 3 decades. But judging by what he witnessed in their relationship and the intel he gathered from reliable sources, he believes the losses were much closer to $100 million, a significant leap from the original reports of $40 million. It's no longer news that Billy Walters served a 5-year sentence in federal prison while being condemned to pay an additional $10 million fine on account of insider trading in 2017. But what if we told you Mickelson could have changed things? No, we don't mean Mickelson ratted Walter out as speculated. The truth, or according to Walter at least, is that Mickelson refused to confess a particular fact that could have changed the tides and kept his buddy out of prison. Phil Mickelson, one of the most famous people in the world and a man I once considered a friend, refused to tell a simple truth that he shared with the FBI and could have kept me out of prison. I never told him I had inside information about stocks, and he knows it. All Phil had to do was publicly say it. He refused. What really irks Walter is that Mickelson not only cost him his freedom and tens of millions of dollars, but also a deep heartbreak he still struggles with daily. While Walter was in prison, his daughter sadly passed away. It was a suicide, a heartbreaking outcome he believes he could have prevented had he been outside the prison walls. In all, now that another shocking revelation about Phil Mickelson's past in gambling has been stirred up, we cannot help but feel it may have some ripple effects, specifically more oversight. In the modern age of legalized gambling, sports organizations, and not just golf, may begin to act more cautiously about the possibilities of similar scandals causing scrutiny. As a matter of fact, as at the making of this video, there's no telling that Congress might be looking into stiffer measures to manage and monitor sports. Granted, Phil Mickelson's case may not be the straw that broke the camel's back, but we're almost certain eyebrows are being raised. With countless betting platforms on the rise, the risk of manipulation and match fixing comes with it. Let's recall the words of Walter's book concerning the bet Mickelson planned to make on the Ryder Cup. Given he was part of the tourney, the opportunity to manipulate the outcome is as clear as day. Say he bet $1 million to lose. He could easily perform badly or talk to his teammates to follow suit before sharing profits afterward. We don't think Mickelson could act so disturbingly, but we can all agree manipulation and match fixing go a long way in killing the spirit of competition. The government may just impose stricter regulations to shield sports from scandals. Excessive oversight can burden sports leagues with additional costs that could have been diverted into their respective needs. Not to mention, strict management reduces the autonomy they currently enjoy. All it would take to force Congress to take rigid actions is one big scandal. The leagues are taking note, and we're sure they would not be thrilled by it. With everything that has been said and done, what do you think about Billy Walters' autobiography? Remember to hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel to stay updated in the golfing world.